Okay, guys, so let's start. So, today we will talk about data management. Okay, we will talk about data management. So, in data management, what specific topics are we going to talk about? We will talk about the data import and we will talk about data export. So, data import as import. So, the import means whenever you are trying to import something into Salesforce. Okay, import some data into Salesforce. Data here is records. If you want to import some records into Salesforce, that is something which is known as data import. Okay, so import you can think of it like a normal export import we do in business, right? If we are if we are taking something from, let's say, from outside, uh, like outside the country to our country, we will call it as an import operation. Otherwise, if we are sending something of our product from this country to the other, that is export, right? So on a business analogy, that is the term used. Even Salesforce, it's the same. If you are importing something into your Salesforce, or taking some records from outside of Salesforce to Salesforce, that is called as data import. And if we are sending from Salesforce, the records we are sending from Salesforce to outside, that is called as data export. So, if, as the name suggests, or the definition how it is written, data import in Salesforce is the process of bringing information from external sources into your Salesforce organization. Now, there are a couple of ways to do the data import. Most of the popular options are data import wizard, data loader, data loader.io, and workbench. So let's take a look at one by one. Okay. First is data import wizard. Now, what is data import wizard? Let's see. Okay. So I will open my org. Okay, so this is my org. Now you have to go to this gear icon, go to setup. In this setup, you have to type in data import. Okay, data import wizard. So you click on this. Once you click on this, you will find this place. Okay, this page you will find. What this page is telling, it is showing like the what columns generally will be there, and then like what are the recent. If we, this is a new org for us, so we haven't done any import, but if we have some import already carried out, that recent import jobs like the status, the object, these are the columns. This column record details will be shown, like what type of import operation is done, on which object it is, or the fields or the records needs to be mapped to certain objects, right? So which object will be there, all those things. What was the processing time, how much time it took to upload the data into Salesforce, all these details will be shown. Okay, now if you go down, what it is written. First is prepare your data for import. So what record you will be sending, that you have to prepare. Similarly, second is choose data for import. So once you have prepared the data, that then you have to choose the data. Generally, the data what we prepare, if we are getting it from outside of Salesforce, is in CSV format. CSV means Excel. Okay, Microsoft Excel dot CSV format. Now once that is done, you will choose the data, like you will upload the data, and then after uploading you have to map it. Okay, what is mapping we will see a bit later, and once that is done we will just do the import. Okay, so let's start with this, and then we will see, okay, what needs to be done. So first of all, prepare your data for import. So first, if we click on this launch wizard, it will open up a place. Okay,
Sir, I can't see your screen still.
oh, you cannot see, just a minute. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
Oh, so first I'm telling, thank you for reminding. So data import, right? So what I was telling is the data import in Salesforce is the process of bringing information from external sources into your Salesforce org. And there are mainly popular four ways. There are other ways as well, but these are the mostly used and recommended by Salesforce. First is the data import wizard. Second is the Salesforce data loader. Third one is the data loader.io, and fourth one is the workbench. Okay. Now, if I what I was telling is regarding data import wizard. So for that, what you have to do, you have to go to this gear icon, go to this setup. And once you go to the setup, I'm just repeating because I did not share that. You have to type in data import. Once this data import wizard is open, in the first you will find the recent import jobs. So this is my new org, so I do not have any import jobs, but if I had, it will show in this place. Okay, with this information, what is the status of that job, whether it failed or not, when it started, how much time it took to upload the data, all those things. And if you go down, this launch wizard is there, right? So launch wizard will do the one by one steps in the, like, it will have its own way of mapping and uploading the data. Okay, now if you see here, what is the restriction? You can import up to 50,000 records at a time. So if you have a, like, if you have a record number which is less than or equal to 50,000, then you can use this import wizard. And what are the other limitation? First one is standard objects, right? If you see standard objects, there are only these four objects which are supported: account, contact, lead, solution, campaign members. Custom object will all be there, whatever we have created or is in this org. But standard objects only these four, these five. Okay, accounts and contacts, leads, solutions, and campaign members. If we have any other standard objects, let's say case is a standard object, then opportunity is a standard object. So if you want to do that, there is no such option. Okay, in this is the limitation. First one is the 50,000 limitation of records, and second one is the number of standard objects. Okay, anyhow, so if apart from this limitation, if we have to understand the process, it's basically you have to select the object, like which object you will upload the data. Okay, next is whether you want to create, add, three options are there. See, add new records, update existing record, add new, and update existing. So what does this mean? First one is whether if you want to upload fresh records into Salesforce that it does not have any, it's like an insert operation. You're inserting a fresh set of records into Salesforce. Second one is the update. So if there is already a record in Salesforce and you want to update certain field information in that, so you will go with update existing record. And third one is add new and update. So what this means is it's called upsert in sales, in coding or in programming language. It is called as upsert. That means if the record is present, there will be certain condition. Okay. So if a record with matching name is present, then it will update that record. And if it is not found, then it will create a new record. Okay, so it's like uh, it's a combination of the above. If found, it will update. If not, it will create. Okay. Now see here. So match contact. So we have selected account and contact, right? So how you will understand whether the record already there or not. So for contact, we will select with name. These three are the options. Okay. Email, name, and salesforce.com ID. This one we will understand a bit later, but generally salesforce.com ID is whenever we create a record, there will be there will be a uh, there will be an ID associated with it. So if I open any record, okay, if I open any record, you see in this top, this one 0015, this number, this is called Salesforce ID. Okay, and it will be unique for all the records. So with that we can do name also we can do. Okay, email also we can. Similarly for account, Salesforce ID and name and site. Okay, so let's go with insert. Here also we need to match, but not needed. Okay, this is not needed. Okay, now we have to, you see, where your data is located. So I was telling you, right, CSV. So see, Microsoft Excel CSV, Outlook CSV, Act CSV, Gmail CSV. So basically the extension CSV we can use. Okay, for our testing or for our demo purpose, we will be creating a Excel CSV. Okay. Now in our example, we will upload certain new we will upload certain new records, right? So what we will do, we will be, okay, I hope my screen is visible. Okay, so here we have to first create a CSV file, right? So let's create that and see how we will create, that is the question, or how we will create the records while importing. So let's take one example. Okay, so let me create so I will be creating in Google Sheet. It is same like you have, if you have Microsoft Excel installed in your system, then you can use Microsoft Excel. I will zoom in as well. So first will be column name. Column, yeah. First one will be column, COL, column name. Yeah. So this row will have the column names. Okay, and this row will have its respective records, field values. Okay. So column names will be generally the field name what is there in Salesforce. Okay, so if I go here, if we are doing it for accounts, right? So let's keep it simple. We will only upload three to four, uh, three to four field values. Okay, out of which one is mandatory, right? So if we are creating a record, first one, this account name is the mandatory one, right? Apart from that, there is nothing else mandatory, because if you see, if I just write test SAC3 and save it, okay, phone is mandatory. Phone is mandatory. So I will just give phone and save. So account and phone is mandatory. Apart from that, if we have to give any other value, we can give. Okay. So let's see. New. Next. So account name, I will write the column name as account name. If you remember the analogy which I provided previously, a table is an object, right? The column names are the field names, and the row, which is there totally, the row is the record. Alright. So in our case, we are generally giving the field name, account name, then phone, then what else we will give. These two are the mandatory, so I have written it like this. Let's say rating I will give, okay. Out of hot and warm, I will give hot rating. Okay, rating. And fourth one, let's say we will give it as type prospect. Okay, right? So these are the names. I will just make it a bit beautiful, not required. Okay, so account name, let's give it as testing one. I will just give random names. Phone number, I can give anything. Rating. Since rating is a pick list value, we need to give the exact values. Hot and type, let's suppose. Similarly for this one, I will give test. Mom is there, right? We will give it as others. There's only two values are there. I'm giving like this. So let's keep three records for now, and I will save it. Where is save option? Let me download this, right? Because this will auto save. Let me download this. And how we will download? You see, there is a Microsoft Excel extension. We don't want that. We want comma separated values CSV dot CSV. So it's downloaded. Now if I go here, okay, not here, in our Salesforce org, and I go to this data imports wizard. Now second point we have done. Third point is drag CSV here to upload, or you can choose file. Let's say I will choose file, this one, test data. Now I will click on next. Before you do that, so you see this character code and all, these are not, you don't have to think about it now. It's basically the way the data is represented into the machine. So that is the format. That's it. No, nothing to worry about. Okay, we'll go on next. Now you see here, three columns were there, right? And it got auto uploaded, or it got auto mapped, right? So first one will be the name of the field which is there in Salesforce, and this second one will be the name of the columns which is there in our Excel file. Understood? First one will be the field names. So if you go here to any object, the names of the fields, this account name, account owner, rating, this will be coming in the first column. Second column will be the name of the Excel columns, right? Excel whatever we are uploading, this column names will be shown, right? And you see here, if the name matches, if the column name and the field name matches, it will automatically map the records. Salesforce will automatically map the records, right? But let's say if you are getting it from a client who is not aware of the exact field names, right? They are not exact, like they told you that this is something which will be, let's say for example, phone. So they told you that this will be something with a phone, but what they have written is cellular numbers. They have not written the column name as phone. They have written it as cellular number. So Salesforce will not find that, right? So for that, it will be something like, you see, this will be something like unmapped. Okay? If the column name and Salesforce name does not match, it will not recognize it and it will show it as unmapped. Under that scenario, you have to click on this map option and you have to select which field it is talking about. Okay, so in our case, it will be account phone, right? So we will just search with phone and you will find account colon phone. That means account. So I just want to map the account phone. If you want to map contact phone, you can do like this. Like there is another phone, right? Contact phone, you can select. You can select multiple field names having the same values. For now, we will not go into this. I will do account name on this account phone and click on next. Now it is showing the summary like how many fields are mapped, how many fields are unmapped. You can also keep unmapped fields. If you keep an unmapped field, that will not get passed on. Okay? That the values will not get populated from the Excel. Okay. Now if I click on start import, you will see click OK to view import status on bulk data load job. So there is an option. This bulk, if you go to here in setup, if you search bulk bulk, this bulk data load job, here you will find all your jobs which are in progress and which is completed in last 7 days. So for us it got completed because there are only three records, right? And if you see the details, the timing, the status closed means it is completed. Type, operation, we did insert operation, right? So that is why it is showing us insert. Which object, how many records are processed. If there is any failed record, right? So if the data is not correct, it will show failed record. And how much time to complete? It's mentioned at 0.00. That means it is completed in milliseconds. Here it is tracked as hour, minutes, and seconds. In our case, 00 means it is completed in milliseconds. Now, if I go here, if I go to accounts, And if I just refresh this and go to all accounts, you see here at the down testing 1, 2, 3 is count done, right? But this you see these three records were important and the values are what I have given in the Excel, right? Okay. So this is data import and limitation I mentioned already. So it's 50,000 records. Out of standard objects, importing is very limited, like account, contact, leads, and all. CSV format only it supports, but like preparing the data might be time consuming. Right? So that is one of the disadvantages. And another one is only one import job can run at a time. So if you think that you will run multiple upload operation, that is not possible. Okay? Because if it is not, then that part will be grayed out. That data import part will be grayed out. Okay? Now second way is data loader, and this is the most common way we do generally to upload data. Okay? So for that, what you need to do, you need to go to setup in your org. You need to go to setup. Okay? You need to click on or type in data loader, right? In the integration part, you will find data loader. You click on this. Now you have to click on this download, right? Confirm. Now this is one of the tools which are provided by Salesforce. Okay? This is something which you need to install in your system if you want to use data loader for uploading. This will do all the operations. We will see in a bit. But if you want to do certain data manipulation of records, whether it is inserting or if you are updating an existing record or deleting a record, right? From outside, you will send some data which needs to be deleted into Salesforce if it is there. Fourth one will be if you want to export the data from Salesforce to outside. So all this can be done in a single tool. And if there are other options, but if you want to use this one, you have to install it. How you will install it? You will go to setup data loader and click on downloads. This page will open. In this page, first link you find, right? Download winter 24 release. So you have to click on it and it will download your zip file. So if I show you in downloads, you see this data loader. This will be the zip file. Okay? So you have to unzip it and it will come like this page. And inside this page, if you see, there is a install.bat file. So you have to click on it. It will check for your Java version. Okay, it will check for your Java version, and if that is there, it will install, or else it will prompt you to install the Java, and then you have to install this data loader. And once this is installed, right, there will be a shortcut created. You can go to that shortcut. You can uh, click on that link or open it out, or else you need to go to this folder. This BAT file is created, right? Data loader.bat. So you have to click on this. Okay. Once you click on this, this will open. This page will open. So if you see here in top, it is written data loader required JRE 17 or later, checking if it is installed. So for me it is installed. That's why it is going directly to this data loader. This is the tool. Okay. I hope you can see my screen. This is the tool called data loader, and it will do the same operation, or it will overcome the limitation which is being done using data import wizard. Okay. So how we will do it? We will click on the same one, insert operation, update. Means whatever operation we want to do, we can do it from here. Okay. Now if I go to our slide, guide. Okay. And here, if you click on this developer guide, it will open up this document provided by Salesforce talking all about data loader. Okay, this you can do. You will find all the details here. Fine. And it's on a higher level what is supported, which Windows, which Mac, all these things will be provided. Okay, coming to the point, let's say in our data loader, what we will do is we will update the record. Okay, we will update, let's say these three records, whatever we have created, we will update it. So how we will do? We will be going to, let's say, these three records are there, right? This has their IDs. I mentioned IDs will be there, right? So I will go to my, where it is, yeah. So I will go to my data. I will add one more column here. This one I will name it as ID. You can give it as salesforce.com ID. This one I will match with the existing ID. If it is present, we will update that. Let's see. I'm now manually doing it, but we have a better way that we will see when we are exporting the data. All these three records I am updating, I will update. So let's say I will just update the name, okay, uh, rather than testing, I will write Ishan, Ishan 1, Ishan 2, Ishan 3, right? And phone number I will give all as same, 9999. For all the three records, I will give the same. Fine. So this is done. Now I will download it in CSV file. I'm doing this additional download operation because I'm using Google Sheet, right? If you are using any particular Excel sheet, Microsoft Excel is just saving. There is no download, right? So that is there. Okay. Now if I go to data loader, in our case, where is the data loader? This one. We will click on update. But before that, we need to log in. Okay, so we have to go to file, and for me it's already logged in. For you, it will come as login. You have to do that. Otherwise, it will always prompt you. If you are not logged in, it will prompt you. So let's say I'm clicking on update button. So see, for me here it is prompting me to log in again. Okay. So in which environment? For me, sandbox is not the option, because as I mentioned in my first class that developer edition will be having all the features of a production hall. So it is, we are accessing also it with login.salesforce.com. So it is a production URL. So we will select production. You can give like this if it is already opened in your system. Otherwise, if you know your password, you click on password authentication and give the username and password. So let's say I will give the username, and or else let's go with auth. You can definitely go with username and password as well. Now I will click on login. Now it will go to this page. Enter the 8-digit code from the device or app you are connecting. Okay, this is a new type of authentication. 8-digit code from the device. Click the login URL. Okay, so I will click on this one. This page only I have opened it. So okay, connect. Okay, this is a new app. Okay, let's do the login, normal login. this authentication is a new way actually. So let me see. Oh, it got connected. So you just it's already opened that URL. You need to click on that button connect. Okay. Once you do that, it will ask whether the data loader is a third party, right? It is not installed or it is not something which is part of Salesforce as it is. You need to install it in your system and then do it. Right. So that is why it is asking whether you want to connect it with your org. Okay. Now I will click on allow. Once you have clicked on allow, it will show that your device or app is now connected to this. This is my username and that is it. Now you need to click on connect. Once you do that, you need to, okay. So this is connected. Now this is connected. Now if I go here, let's see, login successful, right? It's logged in successful. Now remember that we will have the first we have to select the object, right, as this first step. So here the objects are coming. Now if you see there might be certain objects which are also not available here. What you need to do then? You need to click on the show all Salesforce object. If you do that, all the objects which are there in Salesforce will show here. Okay. For our purpose, we will select account, right? Second option, if you remember, we have to choose which file. So I have already downloaded it. I go to downloads, this one. Okay. Now I click on next. It is scanning the data. Okay. It is telling all these details. I will click on OK. Now third one, if you remember, what was that? Mapping, right? So I will create an editor map. Click on this. If you have already a mapping in place, then you can use this. But I will do this first part. Create an edit. Now if you see there is a button called auto match fields of columns to columns. So I will click on this. If the name is same, it will go to automat. But see, Salesforce.com ID is not matched, right? There is no field called Salesforce.com ID. So it is coming as blank. Now let's see if ID column is there. See, it's ID. This is the unique ID which I'm referencing. So I will select this and I will just drag it. Click on it, drag it, and then leave it beside this field. So you see, this is done. Now all the fields are mapped. I will either I can save map if you do, then at the later point of time, if you want to use that particular mapping, this type of mapping, you can just upload that file. But for now, let's keep it like this and click on OK. So mapping is also done. First one is object selection. Second one is uploading that data CSV file. And third one is mapping once you upload. Now I'll click on next. You see step 4, which folder I need to save it, right? So data loader will provide you with success and error files. Okay. So let's say if there are 1,000 records you're uploading and all records are passed, then it will provide you those past records into your success file. And due to some reason, if any records are failed, then that will be provided in your failure file. So that you can keep it for later point of time for understanding or analyzing the data, like why it failed, what was the failure reasons and all. So it will throw. So that's why we will be saving it, right? So for our, let's keep it, I will create a folder as data loader files, and I will use this folder for saving the status file. Now after doing all this part, we will click on finish. You have to click on yes. You have chosen to update existing record. The action you are about to take cannot be undone. Are you sure you want to proceed? I will click on yes. You see view success and error files. You can click from here as well, and you will find that these are all success. Okay. And view errors, there is no error files. So you see this is also not there. Okay. Now I click on OK. Now if I go to my org, so this is the org. Now go to account. You see these three are changed, right? And how it changed with the ID, Salesforce ID, which I gave. That way it will function. Similarly, upsert will be if you have any record. Let's say again, let's say this is the record, right? I will write Ishan 4 and I don't give the ID and I give, right? So it will, if I save like this, what will happen? This one is update, this one will update because ID is associated with it, and this one does not have an ID, so it will create a record. So I'm not doing this step. I would like you to do it on your own. Okay, fine. What are the other option? Other option export we will come a bit later, but these are also there. And delete. Delete means if you want to delete record again, as per update, you also have to, for delete, you also have to have the salesforce.com ID associated with it. If you don't have ID, it will not understand which records to delete and it will throw it. Okay. So delete also I'm not doing. For you, I have shown insert, I have shown update. As an assignment, you have to create an Excel file. You can take any object, okay? Account, contact, case, report, not report, any object you can take which is there inside Salesforce, or if you have created any custom object you can take that as well. You need to create a CSV file and try to do the upsert and delete operation. Okay, first you will upsert it. Let's say 10 records you are inserting. Out of those 10 records, maybe 5 records will be updating and 5 records will be inserting in a single go. And after doing that, you need to delete 2 records out of that. Okay, that will be your assignment. Okay, now if I go to this admin part, so for data loader, what is there? Can update records that already exist, bulk delete records, and export records. As we have seen, right, from the buttons, insert update we saw, upsert you will do, delete you will do, and export we will see after this. Now second option, second advantage is what? It will support all objects, not like data import where it only supports certain standard objects. For data loader, it will support all objects. Now, some of like one of the disadvantages, you have to install this tool in your system. It is not something which is cloud. Means there is a version which is cloud accessible, which is known as, if you see the third point, dataloader.io. This is the cloud version of data loader. If you don't want to install it, you can use dataloader.io. And the last one is it can import up to 5 million standard. It's not standard objects, it can be any record standard. It will be records up to 5 million records. Okay. So dataloader.io, right? I will just quickly show you. You have to go to this website, dataloader.io, and you have to log in with Salesforce. Same way, if you remember that option which we had when we were logging into Salesforce, same thing. So you need to click on allow. This will do the connection because it is a third party, right? And we are integrating with Salesforce, so it will ask for that authentication. Now here also, if you see in the new task, in the top new task, if you select import, export, delete, right, we have these options. And if you go to this page as well, if you see import, export, delete, so you can do the same operation using dataloader.io as well. And there is another tool called Workbench. If you just click on select in Google, if you type in Workbench Salesforce, it will open this workbench.developerforce.com. It's same thing. You need to select which one and then click on this terms and condition, log in with Salesforce button and clicking on allow. Once you do this, in the top you see there is so many operation, like so many tabs, right? So you have to select this data tab, and you can select insert, update, upsert, delete, and all. Okay, so you can select out of this four. Undelete also you can do, but let's not go there because we generally do work around with all these fours only. Okay, insert, update, and delete. So let's say if you are clicking on insert, same way you have to select the object, you have to select file. Okay, so from file, choose the file, how we selected the file, right? And then click on next. Now here we have to do the mapping, right? So if you see this phone, rating, these are all already mapped from the Excel file. Type, correct? Salesforce name will always be there in the first. See, this is the required one. If you see, this name is in red color. That means it is a required field. So we have to select it. Okay. Okay. Now, once this is done, at the bottom you select map fields. So it will show a summary of those fields. Confirm insert. Okay. So if you see success, success, success. Now if I go to my place, so it will not change because I believe we have already given it as same. All accounts. So since we did the insert, right? So it again inserted three new records. Okay. So these three are updated and these three are added now using the workbench. So I hope it's clear. Workbench and data loader, data loader.io, data import. So these are the four main options which you can use to import record into Salesforce. Okay, fine. Any questions in this import operation? Okay. Now coming to the differences, right? So we have talked about data import, data loader.io, data loader, right? Workbench. So if we have to if do a difference between these three, data import wizard, data IO, and data loader, what are those? Number of records. The first one is with data import, as we saw, up to 50,000 records we can do. Data loader.io, how much? There is a restriction of 10,000 records per month. Okay. And for data loader, the tool which we have using, it's you have seen, right? It's 5 million, like more than 50,000 if we have to do, we will use data. And there is no restriction because in data loader there is a concept of bulky file. Means you can import if there are 1 million records, right? There is a you cannot or let's say there are 100 million records of data. So you cannot insert all the records at a single time, right? It will be considered into a batch and then upload. Batch means like you can select the what to say number of records to be inserted or updated in a single go that you can use. That is known as batch. Okay. So in Salesforce, the batches, like you can do that in using the bulk API. There is a concept called bulk API. We will see later part of that. But it generally bulk means you are not doing one by one record or not doing everything at a once. You are chunking it out into some smaller pieces and then doing. Okay. Second one is catching duplicate if there is already a duplicate record. So with data import wizard, we can track that using name and email. And for dataloader.io, it will only be accessible using record ID. Record ID, as I mentioned, right? Salesforce ID. Third one is option to turn off workflow. Workflow is an automation tool. Let's say if you are doing certain operation on record and you want to do a follow-up action. Let's say once inserting of record, uh, I want to send that details or the success message to the user. So I will create an email alert. Okay, I will create an email which will like once the record is updated or deleted or inserted, it will give that email to that user, whoever is the owner of that record. So that can be done using import wizard, but in data loader and data loader.io, we need to turn it off because let's say if we are doing it for 50 million records and if somehow 50 million times a user gets a notification that the record is updated, that is not good, right? So we must turn it off. Fourth one is export. So export, as The wizard is only for import. It will not be done with using export. And for data loader, we saw it is possible, right? Fifth one is importing opportunities cases. So as I mentioned, standard objects are very limited in data import wizard. So opportunities cases we cannot do, or any other standard object for that matter. But with data loader, there is no such restriction. All objects are available. Okay. Now coming data export. So as I mentioned, export is basically what you are sending outside to Salesforce from Salesforce. The records are inside Salesforce and you want to send it outside of Salesforce. So what are the options? So let's first go with the definition. Data export in Salesforce is the process of taking information from your Salesforce organization and saving it outside of the platform, typically in the format like CSV or Excel. Okay. Now, what are the options? This last three, if you see data loader.io workbench, we already discussed, right? So this will be applicable for import as well as export operation. But first one is what? Salesforce data export service. So if you go to your setup, sorry, let me open setup. Gear icon setup. Here just type in export. Okay. So you will find the first under data, you will find data export. Click on this. Now you see there are two buttons. One is export now, one is scheduled export. So export now, if you do right, it will export and provide you the details now itself. But there is a limitation. What limitation? If 48, you see here in the first data export lets you prepare a copy of all your data in salesforce.com. From this page, you can start the export process manually or schedule it to run. When an export is ready for download, you will receive an email containing a link that allows you to download the files. The export files are also available on this page for 48 hours, after which they are deleted. So for 48 hours, you will be accessible from here. Now, if you do scheduled export, first of all, let's go with export now. So if you click on export now, you see first of all this file encoding, whatever you want to keep it, you can keep it here. Okay, the way you want to export it. Second one is include image, documents, and attachment. So this is basically useful if you have a rich text area field. Okay, if that rich text area has images, if you want to download that, you can check this box. Second one is like the documents, the files. If you want to download, you can check this box. Third one is replace carriage returns with spaces. So this one is by default checked. You can keep it as it is, and then you have to select export data. What type of data you want to export? If you select include all data, fine. Just include all data. That means whatever record is there in Salesforce and whatever as an admin you have access, admin anyhow will have access to it. So you can insert all those records, right? There are so many objects, and if any of the object has record, it will get imported. I mean exported. If you don't want to do that, if you want to select particular object, then you can select it like this. Okay. And then click on start export. Once you do that, it will take some time. It will show you the status here as mentioned. You will receive an email. That is one part, right? Second one is scheduled one means let's say if I have to export on some time on a frequency. Okay, these three are same, these four are same. Apart from that, this frequency, right? So if you want to do on every first day of every month, then we can do this or anything like this, right? On this day. Otherwise, you can select the start and end time, right? Or if you want to select on, let's say, first of every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So you can schedule the export when you want to do it. And similarly, you can select the objects, or if you want all objects, include all data. I hope this is clear. The time when you want to do like that, exactly the frequency as well as the start and end date you have to provide, as well as if there is any preferred time. Okay, this you can do. This is one option. Second option, as we already saw, data loader. You have to click on this export, and if if you see the main difference between the data export tool like data loader and the data export wizard which is provided inside Salesforce is in data export you have to export all the records from a particular object. It is not like, let's say there are 1,000 records, and if you want only those records whose type equals to prospect. Okay, you don't want all the 1,000 records to be exported. You want only the records which were type field has prospect value. Okay, so that is not possible using data export. You have to either export all or don't export. But with data loader or the dataloader.io or Workbench, you have that option of selecting only those records. So first of all, let's see the object which we have to select is same. Second one is now we have to select an extraction name. So whatever we are extracting, that CSV file need to have a name, right? So we will give it as extract. The name of that file is extract. And where it will be saved? It will be saved in data loader files, right? So here I'm saving it. Now click on next. Now you have to select. You see here now fields, as I mentioned, right? So you don't need to like export all fields or all records. You can select which fields you need to export. Let's say I will only export name. I will export ID, Salesforce ID. Third one will be phone and let's say industry type. This five fields only I will export. Record type also let's keep it. Record type ID means if you remember when we are creating initially, when we are clicking on new, it will throw this, right? Hospital and nursing. This record type ID. This is the ID associated with this record. But if you noticed, when we are importing the data, like going into Salesforce, we are not specifying this ID. So how will the system know which one to map it to? That might be a valid question, right? How it will know whether the record will be mapped to hospital or nursing home. So to answer that, it will basically, if you are not mentioning the record type ID, then it will take whatever is by default, right? So if I'm opening this new button, clicking on this new button, what is default? Hospital is default, right? So it will automatically select hospital. And also one more thing, when we are importing, right, there is an owner ID field, right? This account owner. So it is being mapped under my name, right? If you want it to be mapped under some different user, what you need to do, you need to provide in that column, the Excel sheet what we have created, right? Here you need to create another column with user ID, whatever name you feel like you can give. Later on, you can map it out and then give the ID of that user. So whatever is that ID. So that if you do, it will map with that particular data owner. And in our case, what we did is we kept it as blank, right? If we are keeping it as blank or don't are not giving that value, then it will take the value of the owner who is importing. Let's say I'm importing, I have logged in with my username password. So it will be under mine. I hope this is clear. Fine. For data export, right? Okay, so I have selected all these 4 5 fields. At the bottom, a query is created, right? So don't think more on this query for now. We will talk about this query. This is called as SOQL query in Salesforce. It's similar to SQL, if you have heard about that name, which is querying or taking data from the database. Okay. In Salesforce also, it is known as SOQL. That is the terminology used. Now, if you want to, as I mentioned, right, only certain fields. So let's say type. It is type. Type equals to prospect. So I will only get this many field values where the type is prospect. Okay. Now, this flexibility you will not have in data export wizard. So this is the advantage. Now I will click on yes. The operation has fully completed. There are 21 successful extractions. Now if I open this, if I open this file, data loader file where I have kept it, where it is. Not saved, right? Oh, I did not save it. Let's see. It's there, it is telling it is there. Let me try to upload it. File upload. It is not showing where it got downloaded. File you have selected already exists. Where it is existing? Not able to find it. What type of record? Type equals to industry. Prospect, sorry. Type equals to prospect. Finish. You have chosen to perform, yes. It's loading. Okay, while this is happening, if you see there is another button called export all, if you can see it from the back end, right? So export and export all, what is the difference? Export all is similar to how we do in Wizard. It will export all the data. And also one thing, with export all, you have the option of exporting the deleted record as well. Not only the record which is in Salesforce right now, if you have deleted some records and that is still there in the recycle bin, then you can retrieve those records as well. Okay. For me, it is taking a bit time, so I will not waste our time here. What I would like you to do is do this extract operation with type equals to prospect. You see how it behaves. Okay, and let me know tomorrow. For now, I'm canceling it. And if you say bulk data load job, if you remember, this is the place where you track for the insert operation. Here it will not come. Fine. So you do the export operation and let me know. Okay, let's move on. After this data export, so data loader.io workbench will work similar way as for data export. Okay. External ID is what? External ID is a special type of field that you can designate to uniquely identify records in an object. And it is typically used when you need to integrate Salesforce with external systems or when you want to establish a relationship between records in different systems. So let's say if I'm integrating a system, like a third-party system with Salesforce, then there has to be a way to understand, right, whether that record is already there or not, what record we are interacting with that is already present in Salesforce or not. That is something which is done using external ID. So if you go to any object and then select the fields, right? Now let's say I'm creating a new field. Okay. I will give it as text and click on next. Once you do that, these options we already aware, right? But there is another option known as external ID. This will help the external system to understand the record values, what type they need to mention, right? It is similar, you can think of it in terms of, let's say, a postman is delivering you a letter, right? So until or unless he knows your flat number or house number, they will not be able to deliver it. So this is external ID acts as a house number for that. There might be multiple ways to designate your home. It can be using your house number, it can be using your letterbox number, or it can be some other with your name, right? So if you are doing that part, you have to check this external ID to make it accessible by the external system to understand basically. And once this is clicked, this will be a set as unique identifier, unique, right? So if you have a external ID selected, you cannot have a duplicate value for this particular field. Okay, this is called external ID. Now fourth one is record ID, which we discussed a bit earlier, right? Record ID, also known as Salesforce ID, is a unique identifier assigned to each individual record within Salesforce platform. These IDs are crucial for referencing and identifying specific records. So basically, this is the ID in the top. If you see, this is what is denoting this record. Right? This is known as Salesforce ID or record ID. Now, if I just copy this ID, you can check with any other ID as well. But for our understanding purpose, let's say I'm copying this ID. Let's paste it here itself. Now, if you see this ID, how many digits? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 18 digits, right? So total 18 digits is there. Now it can be represented by this as well, 15 digits. If I just click save this and go to this and delete this URL or with this ID and select only 15 digits, it will open the same record. So there is, okay, this view slash okay. So if you see, although it got redirected to 618 digit only, but with 15 digit also it is accessible. So there are two ways of representing. One is 18 digit, one is 15 digit. What is 15 digit? If you see in this slide, I have written 15 character ID is a case sensitive version which is referenced using user interface. You can use this ID while performing data operation through the user interface. And 18 character ID is case insensitive version which is referenced to APIs, right? So if there is a record with this one as well as, let's say, JY, I'm giving it as small. So if we are giving this and you accessing using the UI, then this will be treated as different records. Okay? But if you are doing it via API, so API will not be bothered about whether the characters are in capital letter or it is in small letter. So they won't be bothering, right? And if they want to, if they have certain ways to update that record, that will be via the ID only, correct? So the last, if you see the last digits, AAY, that is getting added here. That will uniquely identify this record. Okay, it will not be so this one, and if I have a small JY in between that, this one is same record from integration standpoint. I hope it is clear, right? And if you have to dissect this record ID, you see first three letters 001. For Salesforce, this is count. If you open any account record, it will start with 001. Similarly, for you see 001 5J. If you open contact, it is starting with 003. Okay, these are all unique. If you have a test one or custom object, that will be different. But in every org, in any org you create, contact, account, opportunity cases will have a specific starting digit. Account is 001, contact is 003, cases is 005, I believe, 500, sorry, 500. User object user record will be 005, and similarly, right? All these things. So I hope this record ID is also clear to you. Now coming to the data security is there. Okay, let's stop it here itself. Data security we will talk tomorrow. Today what's the time? 8:47. Data security we will talk tomorrow. Any questions on this part which we discussed today, or any assignment which I have provided previously, the topics which we covered? Any questions on those? Let me know. I will wait for a couple of minutes. So I will
Sir,
wait for a couple of. Ah, tell.
this assignments part, assignment 2 and 3 regarding
Mhm.
fields and relationships and master detail relationship, you have given some assignments, no, sir. So
Yes,
these are, can you just show us how it is done? Like, can you just send a, you can upload a video, how it is done step by step, so that we can correlate here, because it was a bit confusing, those classes, day 2 and day 3, when you were
yes,
discussing
yeah,
regarding master detail relationship, because it is quite useful in Salesforce. So
yes.
as we are new, yeah. So this assignment part, if you can upload a video, so that we can do in this in our at our place,
So
step by step.
you understood the concept of master detail, how it is created, the training
Yes,
video.
sir. Few I understood. Few I'm trying to understand from some external sources also as well.
Okay,
But this
okay.
assignment, when we are doing this assignment, it is getting clear, because day one,
Mm,
when you were explaining regarding these fields and everything, it was quite
mm,
confusing. But when I did the assignment part on the first day, it was
yes,
very clear. But the
correct.
second day, when I tried to do it, I was unable to understand why it is used or what it is used for. Yeah, because in real time, how
Okay,
we can relate, because you were just
yeah.
giving test object one, test object two. So
Mm,
if you would have given some examples like insurance or medical bills or any other real time things,
okay, okay,
can understand easily. So that was
yeah,
quite confusing for me. So if
okay.
I don't know, for others it is the understanding, I don't know. But for
Mm,
my part, I was unable to understand. So this assignment, if
okay,
you this two or three assignments until now, if you could
yeah,
upload it in any video, I can do it
sure.
here, looking at that assignment, so that it will be more clearer specifically for this relationship.
Okay, okay,
And
okay.
with real time examples means it will be very much clearer. No need
Mhm.
to struggle with it, because uh, past 2 3 days, I was watching some other videos in YouTube for
Okay,
understanding.
okay,
So it would be better from your part if you could do this by uploading
okay,
videos for
okay.
assignment.
Sure, sure, sure. Okay, I will do that. But try to do
Thank
it on your own and then you
you.
see my videos.
Yeah,
That way
definitely,
you
definitely.
will be.
After doing my part, I will be checking how it is done professionally by you, so that I
Right,
can
sure.
correlate. Did I do the right
Okay,
way, or did I miss any step? That is the thing I wanted.
okay, okay, sure, sure. Done, done, done.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for highlighting. Okay, okay, if no other questions, any
Yeah,
other questions?
just one question.
Yeah,
While creating fields, do I see that predominantly the indexes it's created automatically? So do we have to create indexes like the assignment
no, no,
creating?
it's not needed for you. So indexing is basically used to increase the performance of that record, right? So it's a bit high level, but it's basically when you are fetching data from Salesforce. If the fields are indexed, that will be easier way to access those fields from the like from the database. So
Okay,
first of all, if you are creating certain records and if it is auto indexed as you are telling, then no need to worry about. There is nothing wrong in that. But if there is certain fields which you want to index to improve the performance of your query, then there are certain ways, like if you are making it as external ID, which we have discussed today, that will make it as an indexed field. Or else if you can, index it on your own as well, you can create a support ticket, Salesforce support ticket, and they will index it from their behalf. So indexing is
Oh,
part of improving the performance, but for you, no need to worry at this point. Okay, if no more question, I'm winding up this call. Let's meet tomorrow.